Good evening. We're here this evening. Clover Garden School Board of Directors meeting is called to order at 6:35 p.m. on July 16th, 2024. Ms. Verakin, role and mission.
Rule of the board, we are entrusted to care for the current school and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Mission of Clover Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students, academically, and produce acceptable citizens.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review this evening's agenda? Any additions or changes? Do I have a motion to approve this evening's agenda? Ms. Foster, second. Ms. Merle, all in favor? Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from June 25th, 2024? Do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Mr. Russell, second. Ms. Merle, all in favor? Ms. Verakin, do we have anyone for public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that takes us to academics. Student Achievement Guide.
Yes, I'm going to table this until our next meeting. This is something that we have to have in place, but I would like some input from teachers when they return. So this is a guide as part of our Senate Bill 49 for families to understand and know what requirements need to be in place for their kids to be promoted to the next grade level, amongst other things that are like procedural things for their kids and achievement at the school. So that will be tabled until the next meeting.
Okay. No old business goes to governance. The only committee update is over the governance is officers and members. So we need to vote in our officers this year. Officers are as follow through nominations on our June 25th meeting. Chairperson, Kathy June, Vice Chair, Amy Merle, Treasurer, Ashley Lane, and Secretary, Randy Russell. Do I have a motion to approve the officers for 24-25 school year? Mr. Russell, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? New business, charter school renewal letter.
This is kind of info only. There's June, I need to sign something for me in just a little bit, but basically this is a letter. So we are up for our 10-year renewal has expired, or it will expire. So at the beginning of 2026, that will be hopefully our next 10-year renewal. So there's a lot of things that's going to be taking place, a lot of input that I will need from the board, as well as the faculty and staff and leadership groups. Because there's a lot of requirements that we have to do to provide information to the state, specifically the Office of Charter Schools, to take it to the State Board of Education to hopefully request a 10-year renewal again. So they come in different increments. So that will be just the letter that you're going to be signing will be just, we are requesting, yes, we would like to be renewed. And so then that puts us kind of in that process for renewal. So it's a big undertaking, and I would definitely need some input from the board on some of the strategic goals and planning.
Okay. Thank you. We do have to go back to governance because we have to vote in our ex officio and our new board member. So,
If this charter school renewal letter,
oh, it does.
It should be info. We don't really have, I mean, unless you just kind of, we can just cover our bases. I mean, that would be fine if you want to keep it as a vote, just so that I can have that reflected in the minutes. But basically, unless anybody doesn't want to renew, that would be the only issue that we would have. But if you guys want to vote to approve, yes, you want me to submit that letter for approval to start that process, that renewal letter.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the charter school renewal letter process? Ms. Russell, second. Ms. Lane, all in favor? Okay. So we're going to take a step back and we have 2 votes. We need to vote in our new member, Ms. Gould. Do I have a motion to approve the new parent member? Ms. Russell, second. Mr. Russell, all in favor? And then Mr. Huffines is going to continue on with us as an ex officio for the next year. So do I have a motion to approve Mr. Huffines as ex officio? Mr. Russell, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? Okay. And that takes us back to
You are a non-voting. board.
That's correct.
The parent stakeholder survey results.
So I do not have anything in your board folder. I was going to share that and add that to it. But just kind of an overall, this was, something that so twice, once a year, we'd like to get feedback from our faculty and staff, and then we like to get feedback from our parents and our families, our stakeholders. I do believe that this survey had, more, students fill this out, because we asked a lot of questions about SMOD and standard code of dress, and so I think I got a lot of their input on this one, but I'll take it. So this was a survey that was sent back out in May, just getting some parent feedback and stakeholder, it's a stakeholder survey. So for this one, we had 283 responses, for this survey. And then what we did was we kind of went through, and I will put this in your folder, but, we kind of went through, and there's an open-ended section in here in which parents, students, whomever fills that out, when it comes to the community, they offer suggestions. And sometimes that list is very long. I think it's like, I printed like 40 pages and I feel like 30 were open response. So, but we try to go through that and say, okay, what am I seeing reoccurring? Like, what are continued issues that we're hearing from families, communities, stakeholders, those type of things. And then we kind of narrow that down to our top 3. So here are our 3 areas that we're doing well. We want to continue doing well as a community, as a school. And then here are the areas that we really want to focus on because, I keep hearing these concerns. I keep hearing these, comments in this survey. So, overall, the top 3 for things that we're doing well that I heard, repeatedly throughout this survey was that we were a community that cares. So that's a big deal to our families. So they mentioned in many different ways that our students, their teachers know who they are, they build relationships with them. We are welcoming to families and communities when they're on campus. So that was a big one, was just that we care, and that community feel there. The second one was constantly throughout here was that we're safe. That's a big thing that we kind of pride ourselves on, being a secure campus. So that was a one that was kind of repeated throughout. And I don't know if you guys remember, but we had a student last year, that won an award for the Center for Safer Schools, where he wrote an essay talking about how the difference between a student that feels safe at school versus a student that doesn't. And I don't know, that'll bring tears to your eyes, but it's so important that kids feel safe when they're at school. So that was something that we were doing well. And then the size of the school, which I thought was interesting because we did expand last year, but there were quite a few comments in there about like, okay, this is good, we're great. I like saying, yeah, those might have come just breaking, I don't know. But, it did, they did say the size of the school would just steal that K-12 feel, 1,000 and less kids. That was something important to them that we're doing well. And then room for improvement, that might have been 25 out of the 30 pages, but we'll take it as feedback. We can't fix everything, but again, kind of how you guys set strategic goals as a board, we set strategic goals as a admin staff. And so 3 of the areas that they kind of, that I saw reoccurring throughout was smaller class sizes. This past year, the last school year was really, really tough, especially on our middle school, area. Middle school was really tough. We pushed 30 in a lot of those classrooms. So smaller class sizes was a big one that was repeated throughout that wish to get back to those. The second one was lunch, so cafeteria. Again, the concern being at the high school, not having somewhere to sit down for lunch. But also I kind of tagged another one in this one, just prices of lunch. Again, we've kind of talked about this from previous meetings, but especially with the high school last year, we had to use my hot lunch box and how expensive those meals were. So we got a lot of feedback on that in the cafeteria in general. And so, we all know the cost of inflation. You can't run through the drive-thru and get a cheeseburger for $5 anymore, but still trying to make that a little bit better than $12, $13, $14. So again, making some improvements there for next year. I'll speak on that in just a second. But so the cafeteria again, having a cafeteria at the high school, and then just prices in general overall for both campuses. And then the last one, which I feel like I've heard before, but it did kind of come up quite a few times, was wanting to renovate and update our facilities at the KA campus, and specifically the bathrooms. So those bathrooms, especially in our oldest building, and building one are a little bit rough. And so that is something that I did see that throughout, when it came to just wanting to upgrade, do a little renovation, a little maintenance on our current campus, on the K-8 campus, but bathrooms specifically. So again, those are kind of our goals. We are already trying on some of this with the smaller class sizes. We are still very actively in scheduling and planning for next year. We are really hoping to reduce those class sizes, especially in middle school. So we're hoping that that will come to fruition. We are very actively in that schedule, and it's changing every day, but we really are pushing for that because we know how valuable that is. And then with the cafeteria, I know there's been some discussion about that, but also looking at price points, where we did do away with that contract with My Hot Lunch Box. So we will be having the lunches from both campuses, all vendored in from the same places. So I'm hoping that that will alleviate a little bit of the stress that families maybe are feeling from some of those price points. But overall, that was kind of a summary of our highlights, and then our areas for improvement. But overall, like some of these questions asked, would you send your children here as long as we offered, the courses and the classes, that your students would be eligible for? And of course, like I said, majority was yes. So overall, I think they're pleased in a lot of ways. Honestly, I thought it would be a whole lot more brutal because of the transitions we had last year. But the comments and things were very honest. So they're really good conversational pieces for our admin team to kind of review and go over, and what are some other little things, like we can focus on these 3 big adjustments and things at the school and what we can do to improve, but as an admin team, what are these little things? Communication comes up every single year. I don't think I've ever done a survey that didn't, repeat communication. So we're always looking for improvements and ways to better the communication from the school to the home and in between the teachers and the families. So that was, of course, an overall, our overarching goal that we're going to continue to work on. But that was pretty much a summary, but I will drop that into your folder. I'm sorry that it's not in there right now. Any questions?
Were there pointed questions on like the actual academics, and what were the responses to that? Were they overall positive, or?
So there were some comments about instruction in general,
Mhm.
so repeated throughout. I saw some about wanting to tighten up, like code of conduct. That came from our faculty and staff as well. But wanted to tighten up the code of conduct and kind of get back to the roots of kind of how we originally, did things 20 years ago, and those type of things. But the only piece that I saw that was repeated in there about instruction was just in our charter, it says high academics, like an academic focus, and that's one of our pillars. For a very long time, it was always college preparatory. Like you come to school here and you go to college, and that changed a little bit. And it's your demographics, all your kids, it's just changed over time. However, that is still a push. Our academics are still, rigorous. But that was something in there. I read a couple of times about concerns with, wanting to help the kids plan for college and plan for the next level after they graduate. And so that was something that I kind of saw throughout. It was specifically, I can't do it all, those type of things, but wanting more support there. And then instruction, there was quite a few positive comments in regards to instruction. And just, it was an adjustment at first for some families, and then now that they've kind of gotten into it, being appreciative of the rigor and the I guess the challenge of the instruction at our school.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Any other items for open session? I didn't miss anything.
I need to add one thing, and I'm sorry I missed that when you asked about agenda changes. We did have under new business, I guess I need to do like handbook revisions. So we presented the student and parent handbook to you guys last month and staff handbooks last month. And our team worked together to make just a few revisions for that we wanted to touch base on. And again, ladies, please chime in if I missed something on this one, but there's just a very few things, but just making an amendment to the staff handbook. So in the staff handbook that we presented in June, we alleviated like not being able to wear leggings ever. And so we would like to make that amendment to our staff handbook and allow our staff to do that. And as long as they're wearing them under appropriate dresses, things like that, that meet our length requirement. And the difference between this and the students, because I know that's what kind of feedback we'll get. Well, why do the teachers get them and we don't? Teachers were much more responsible, when it came to wearing the leggings and wearing them the right way and the appropriate way. And so we really went back and forth on this one about, we've always kept it all the same, whatever applied to the students applied to the staff. But after much deliberation, we felt that it was okay to extend that privilege to the adults in the building that, follow the dress code the way they were supposed to. So that was one of the revisions that we would like to make, that the staff be allowed to wear leggings under appropriate length dresses. And then one of the things I put on there was, I was gonna include our safety plan, like information in the handbook, but I don't wanna do that. So I just made a note that I wanna take that back out, because I put in there that we were going to include additional safety information. That's gonna be in a separate document that's not attached to the staff handbook, because it really does need to be protected in like paper copies. Which is kind of weird about that being electronic, but. And then there is a film approval process. So this is the last one for the staff handbook revisions, but we added a film approval process before staff are allowed to show movies or videos during classroom instruction. So we ran through a couple of issues last year. We just didn't have a process in place. It was very unwritten, and that wasn't in place. So we needed in black and white that there's a procedure and a policy for what are you using this movie for, this video for. So there's a lot of underlying themes and things like that. That's something, that we're not comfortable with. We really have to prove what the purpose is for you showing this video and movie in class. So there is a process now that we would like to add to the staff handbook. So those are the only three for the staff handbook. And the only revision to the student handbook, and I'm ready for, they're gonna be upset about this, but in order to be equitable, we took out leggings, okay, which primarily affects our girls, right? Then we want to remove sweatpants as well. So taking away sweatpants and joggers. So last year, again, you're not supposed to wear pajamas. That's great. They tended to follow the rules on that. We did allow special days where they did get to earn those opportunities. But some of the sweatpants turned into, is that pajamas? And so we're really trying to focus it here. And I'll tell you our purpose behind this. And we're ready, because we know we're gonna get a lot of flack on this, because parents have bought school supplies, and I understand that. And so we'll try to be as, understanding of that as possible. But with the dress pants and things like that, there's a certain feel that we want the kids to have when you come to school. And so we are very much in need of focusing on instruction this year. That is our goal. That's why you're here, you come to school all day. What you do after school, that's on you. But when you're at school for the day, we want the kids dressed to impress. Our goal is to take them out to the community more this year. Like, I want them ready at a moment's notice to be able to take them and be presentable for other people and job opportunities in the future, and meeting up with different opportunities to put on, college applications. And so I love our children, but they do take advantage of that. And the sweatpants, it just took on a whole nother realm that we didn't really, like the vision in which we were going. So that is our suggestions. We know that that's probably not going to be met with the most favorable of reactions, but there's a rhyme and a reason for that. They can still have their holes with the jeans, we just changed. You can't have holes all the way up, they still can have that, which is a change from years ago. But again, the sweatpants and the leggings, we just wanted to be equitable for all. That, we're here, we're dressed for business today. You are here from 7:45 to 2:45 or 8 to 3. And when you're here all day long, you are here to work and be in the classroom. So,
Mr. Reagan, is that for both campuses?
yes.
Okay, so I mean, just thinking with some of the littles, a lot of their pants have like just an elastic waist. So
Now, there is a difference in that book, unless I don't know that we changed that part. There is a K-5 that had a difference. That theirs is a little bit more lenient, because sometimes that's all how they're made.
that's what you can get.
So unless y'all tell me if I misspeak on that, it was just middle school and high school. Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Any questions on those amendments? Everybody comfortable with that? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the amendments to the staff and student handbooks as presented this evening? Ms. Lane, second. Mr. Young, all in favor? Thank you. Okay. I don't see anything else. Do I have a motion to move into closed session? Ms. Lane, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? Please note, we've moved into closed session at 6:55 PM.